The message arrived on a Tuesday morning, Earth Standard Time. It came through every communication channel humanity possessed. Impossible to ignore or block. The Galactic Council was making contact, and they were not asking permission. Chairman Tejo stood in the United Earth Command Center, watching the alien face on the massive screen. The creature called itself High Arbiter Velk, and it spoke with the kind of confidence that came from ruling half a galaxy for thousands of years. Humanity, the alien said, its translator converting the words into perfect English. Your species has expanded too quickly. Your military grows too strong. Your wars with each other show your violent nature. The Council has decided to help guide you toward civilization. Tejo said nothing. Around him, dozens of military officers and government officials watched in silence. They had known this day might come. Humanity had been in space for only 200 years, but they had built a powerful fleet and colonized 40 systems. The older alien species had been watching with growing concern. We require 10 of your military commanders, Velk continued. They will join us aboard our flagship for a period of diplomatic integration. They will learn from us, and we will learn from you. This is not negotiable. You have 72 hours to comply, or we will impose trade sanctions and military blockades on all human systems. The screen went dark. The room erupted in angry voices, but Tejo raised his hand for silence. His face was calm, but those who knew him well could see the fury in his eyes. Get me our top commanders, he said quietly. All of them. We have a decision to make. Within 6 hours, Earth's finest military minds had gathered in the secure conference room deep beneath Geneva. Admiral Hana arrived first. Her uniform crisp and her expression unreadable. She commanded the largest battle fleet in human space, 200 warships that had never lost an engagement. She was 45 years old and had been fighting since she was 18. General Suji came next, the ground forces commander who had won the Mars Rebellion almost single-handedly. Then came Commander Yuna, who led the Special Operations Division, Admiral Nari, Colonel Minji, General Gina, Commander Hayun, Admiral Sora, General Unbi, and Colonel Heejin followed. 10 women, the absolute best humanity, had to offer. Tejo looked at each of them. You heard the message. The Council wants you. All of you. It's a hostage situation, Admiral Hana said flatly. They think if they have us, humanity will be too afraid to resist their demands. They're right to think that, General Suji added, but they're also wrong. They don't understand humans very well. Tejo nodded. I won't order you to go. This has to be your choice. But if you refuse, they'll blockade our systems. Millions could starve. Our colonies could fall. Commander Yuna leaned forward. And if we go, then we buy time, Tejo said. Time to prepare. Time to plan. Time to show the Council what happens when you threaten humanity. The 10 commanders looked at each other. No words were spoken, but they all understood. Admiral Hana stood up. We'll go, she said. But Chairman, you need to promise us something. Anything. Come get us. No matter what it takes, no matter how long, come get us. Tejo's voice was hard as steel. You have my word. No human gets left behind. Not ever. The next 72 hours passed in a blur of activity. Publicly, Earth's government announced they would comply with the Council's demands to avoid bloodshed. Private citizens protested in the streets, angry that their leaders were being taken. News channels debated whether this was wise or cowardly, but in secret military facilities across Earth and its colonies, something else was happening. Every stealth ship was being armed and fueled. Every experimental weapon system was being rushed into production. Every Special Forces unit was being briefed on potential rescue operations. General Jiho, who would take command of ground forces in Suji's absence, met with Admiral Minho, who would lead the fleet with Hana gone. They both knew what was coming. How long do we wait? Minho asked. We don't, Jiho replied. We start planning the minute they take our people. Tejo wants Operation Broken Chain, ready to launch within a week. On the final day, the Council's massive flagship arrived in Earth orbit. The Eternal Dominion was 3 miles long, bristling with weapons and shields that could withstand anything humanity currently possessed, or so the Council believed. The 10 commanders stood together in the landing bay, watching the alien shuttle descend. They wore their full military uniforms, every medal and ribbon displayed. They would not show weakness or fear. "Remember," Admiral Hanna said quietly, "watch everything, learn their systems, find their weaknesses. We're not prisoners, we're spies." The shuttle landed, and alien soldiers emerged. They were tall, heavily armored, and carried weapons that hummed with energy. Their leader approached the commanders. "You will come with us. You will obey Council law. You will serve the Council's interests. Any resistance will be met with force." "We understand," Hanna said calmly. "But know this, you're making a mistake. Humanity doesn't forget, and we never forgive." The alien seemed amused. "Your species is barely 2 centuries old in space. The Council has ruled for 10,000 years. You will learn your place." As the shuttle lifted off, carrying the 10 commanders away from Earth, Chairman Tejo stood in the command center watching. His hands were clenched into fists. Beside him, General Jiho spoke quietly. "Sir, the fleet is ready. We can strike within 150 hours. "Good," Tejo said. "Because in 147 hours, I'm going to send the Council a message they'll never forget. They wanted to teach humanity our place in the galaxy. Instead, we're going to teach them what happens when you touch what's ours." On the Eternal Dominion, the 10 commanders were led to a large chamber where dozens of Council representatives waited. High Arbiter Velk stood at the center, that same confident smile on its alien face. "Welcome," it said. "For the next 50 years, you will serve under Council authority. You will advise us on human military matters. You will help us understand your people. In time, you will come to appreciate the wisdom of the Council's rule." Admiral Hanna looked at the alien directly. Her voice was cold and clear. "In time," she said. "You're going to regret this day more than anything in your species' history. Because you just declared war on humanity. You just don't know it yet." The Council representatives laughed, thinking her words were empty bravado. But deep in her eyes, there was something that should have terrified them. It was the look of a soldier who knew reinforcements were coming. It was the look of a commander who knew her people would never abandon her. It was the look of someone who had already won. 48 hours after the 10 commanders were taken, the second message arrived. High Arbiter Velk appeared on screens across every human world, that same arrogant smile on its alien face. "People of Earth and her colonies," it began. "Your commanders are safe and comfortable aboard the Eternal Dominion. They are beginning their education in proper galactic civilization. Now, we must discuss humanity's future." Chairman Tejo sat in his office, watching the broadcast alone. His face showed nothing, but his fingers drummed slowly on his desk. A dangerous rhythm that his staff had learned to fear. "First," Velk continued, "humanity will reduce its military fleet by 60%. You have too many warships for such a young species. Second, you will allow Council observers in all military facilities and research stations. Transparency is essential for trust. Third, you will enter a 50-year mentorship period under Council guidance. During this time, all major decisions regarding expansion, trade, and military actions must be approved by Council representatives." The alien paused, letting the demands sink in. "You have 1 week to begin compliance. Your commanders will remain with us as insurance of your cooperation. Refuse, and they will face trial for humanity's various violations of galactic law. Their sentences could be quite severe." The broadcast ended. Within minutes, Tejo's office was filled with angry officials and military officers. Everyone was shouting, demanding action, calling for war. Tejo let them vent for exactly 3 minutes. Then he stood. "Enough," he said quietly. The room fell silent. General Jiho, Admiral Minho, Director Sojun. "Stay. Everyone else, out." When the room cleared, the 4 men looked at each other. These were humanity's top remaining military minds. Jiho was the best ground commander they had. Minho was a tactical genius with the fleet. Seojun ran black operations. The program's so secret that most government officials didn't know they existed. Tell me about Broken Chain, Taeho said. Jiho pulled up holographic displays showing ship positions, attack vectors, and timing sequences. We have 200 stealth frigates positioned throughout Council space. They've been there for 3 days, completely undetected. The Council doesn't know we have stealth technology. How? Taeho asked. We've been hiding it for 10 years, Seojun said. Ever since we made contact with the Council, we knew this day might come. We've been building a secret fleet, ships that don't appear on any official registry. Technology we've never demonstrated in public. Minho zoomed in on the Eternal Dominion. Our people have been mapping that ship since it entered Earth orbit. We know its shield frequencies, its power distribution, its weak points. We can crack it. Casualties? Taeho asked. For the rescue mission, minimal on our side. We'll lose some ships, maybe 20 or 30. But we'll get our people back. And after that? The 3 officers exchanged looks. Admiral Minho spoke carefully. Sir, if we do this, it's total war. The Council won't negotiate after we attack their flagship and kill their people. They'll come at us with everything they have. I know, Taeho said. Can we win? Yes, Jiho said without hesitation. But it won't be easy, and it won't be quick. They have more ships, but we have better tactics, and we're meaner. They've been at peace for centuries. We've been fighting each other for our entire history. We know war in a way they've forgotten. Taeho walked to the window, looking out over Geneva. Millions of people going about their lives, unaware that their leader was about to make the biggest decision in human history. Director Sojun, he said without turning around. Do we know where they're holding other human prisoners? Yes, sir. We've identified 17 Council prison facilities with human colonists. Mostly people who violated their trade laws or traveled without proper documentation. About 340 people total. I want rescue operations planned for all of them. Not just our commanders. Every human they've taken. 2. One of the servant. Every human they've taken. That will require major military operations across multiple systems, Sojun said. I know. Plan it anyway. Taeho turned to face them. Gentlemen, I'm going to make a public address in 2 hours. After that, there's no going back. I need to know, right now, that you're with me, because I'm not giving the Council anything, not one ship, not one observer, not one moment of authority over humanity. We're going to get our people back, and we're going to make the Council regret they ever heard of Earth. General Jiho stood at attention. Sir, the ground forces are ready. Admiral Minho did the same. The fleet is ready, sir. Director Seojun smiled coldly. Black Operations has been ready for 10 years, sir. Then let's show the galaxy what humans do when you threaten our people. 2 hours later, every screen in human space showed Chairman Taeho's face. He sat at his desk, hands folded, expression calm. He looked like a man at peace with his decision. Citizens of Earth and all human colonies, he began. By now, you've all seen the Council's demands. They want us to disarm. They want us to submit. They want us to accept their authority over our future. They believe that holding 10 of our finest commanders as hostages will force us to comply. He paused, letting the anger build. They are wrong. The Galactic Council has made a grave miscalculation. They believe that because they are old, they are wise. They believe that because they are many, they are strong. They believe that because they have ruled the galaxy for thousands of years, they are untouchable. But they have forgotten something important. Taeho's voice grew harder. They have forgotten that humanity did not reach the stars by being timid. We did not build a civilization by bowing to bullies, and we did not become the species we are by abandoning our own. He stood up, placing his hands on the desk. Admiral Hana, General Suji, Commander Yuna, Admiral Nari, Colonel Minji, General Jina, Commander Haeun, Admiral Sora, General Unbi, Colonel Heijin. These are not just commanders. They are our daughters, our sisters, our friends. They are humans, and we do not leave humans behind. His voice rose. The Council demands we disarm. I refuse. The Council demands we submit. I refuse. The Council demands we accept their rule. I refuse. Instead, I offer the Council one chance to avoid the consequences of their actions. Release our people immediately. Issue a formal apology. And never threaten humanity again. Tejo leaned forward, staring directly into the camera. If they refuse, then as of this moment, a state of war exists between humanity and the Galactic Council. We will rescue our people. We will free every human prisoner they hold. And we will show the galaxy that humanity does not negotiate with kidnappers. He straightened. To Admiral Hana and the others, if you're watching this, hold on, we're coming. To the Council, you have 147 hours to release them. After that, you'll learn why every other species in the galaxy should have left humanity alone. The broadcast ended. Across human space, the reaction was instant and overwhelming. People flooded into the streets. Not in protest, but in support. Recruitment centers were overwhelmed with volunteers. Factory workers doubled their shifts to build weapons and ships. Humanity, so often divided, united in righteous fury. On the Eternal Dominion, the 10 commanders watched the broadcast in their shared quarters. The Council had given them comfortable rooms, thinking prisoners who were treated well would be compliant. They were wrong about that too. Admiral Hana smiled. 147 hours. That means they're coming in about 6 days. Should we prepare? Commander Yuna asked. Absolutely, Hana said. Suji, you're our best at hand-to-hand combat. Start teaching the others how to fight in close quarters. Heijin, you're the cyber warfare expert. See if you can access any of their systems from here. Heiyun, you ran intelligence. Start mapping this ship. I want to know every corridor, every weak point, every place we can use to our advantage. General Gina looked worried. You think they'll really start a war over us? Hana's smile grew wider. Gina, they already did. The moment the Council took us, they declared war. They just didn't realize it. Now, they're about to learn what humans really are. We're not the young, scared species they think we are. We're survivors, we're fighters, and we're coming home. 147 hours passed. The Galactic Council spent that time laughing at humanity's defiance. High Arbiter Velk held press conferences, assuring the galaxy that the young species would soon see reason. Council warships gathered near Earth. 12 massive vessels meant to intimidate humanity into submission. They were still laughing when the human fleet appeared. 200 stealth frigates dropped out of their cloaking fields simultaneously, surrounding the Council ships in perfect attack formation. The Council's sensors had detected nothing until that moment. It was impossible. No species had stealth technology that advanced. Humanity did. General Jiho stood on the bridge of the stealth carrier Silent Fury, watching the tactical displays. Around him, his officers worked with calm precision. They had practiced this operation 1,000 times. Now they would execute it perfectly. All ships, he said into the fleet-wide channel. This is General Jiho. Our people are aboard that flagship. The Council thought they could take humans and face no consequences. Today, we teach them otherwise. Fire at will. The human fleet opened fire. Railguns, humanity's preferred weapon, launched tungsten rods at a significant fraction of light speed. The Council's shields, designed to stop energy weapons and missiles, were useless against solid projectiles moving that fast. The rods punched through shields like they weren't there. The first Council warship exploded in seconds. Then the second. Then the third. The Council ships tried to return fire, but the human vessels were already moving, repositioning, making themselves difficult targets. It was like watching wolves hunt, coordinated and deadly. On the Eternal Dominion, alarms blared. Admiral Hana heard them from her quarters and smiled. That's our signal. Everyone, move! The 10 commanders had spent 6 days preparing. They knew which corridors had the fewest guards. They knew where the weapons were stored. They knew which systems Heijin had managed to hack. Now they put that knowledge to use. Suji led them through the corridors, taking down guards with brutal efficiency. These aliens had never faced humans in close combat before. They learned quickly that humans were stronger, faster, and far more vicious than they appeared. Minji grabbed a fallen guard's weapon, a plasma rifle that hummed with power. "This will do," she said, testing its weight. They reached the weapons deck, a massive chamber filled with energy cannons designed to destroy enemy ships. Hana looked at the controls. Thanks to Heijin's hacking, they had access to everything. "Target those council ships," she ordered. "Fire on our people's signal." Outside, the battle raged. 4 more council ships exploded. The remaining 7 tried to flee. But human boarding parties were already attaching to their hulls. Captain Gunho led the assault teams, elite soldiers who had trained for this exact mission. "Go, go, go," leading his team through the breached airlock. They moved through the council ship like a storm, clearing rooms and corridors. Any alien that resisted died instantly. Those who surrendered were zip-tied and left behind. On the Eternal Dominion, Admiral Hana watched the tactical display showing the battle outside. She saw the moment when General Jiho's forces were in position. "Fire," she said calmly. The flagship's own weapons turned on the Council fleet. Energy beams lanced out, striking Council ships from behind. The aliens on the bridge screamed in confusion, unable to understand how their own ship was firing on them. 3 more Council ships took critical damage. High Arbiter Velk rushed to the weapons deck, surrounded by a dozen guards. He found the 10 human commanders standing there, armed with captured weapons and looking entirely too pleased with themselves. "What have you done?" he shouted. "This is an act of war." "No," Admiral Hana said coldly. "What you did was an act of war. This is the response. You took humans. Now you pay the price." Velk's guards raised their weapons, but they never got to fire. The wall exploded inward as human assault teams breached the deck. Captain Gunho and his soldiers poured in, weapons ready. "Commanders," Gunho said with a sharp salute. "Time to go home." The extraction was fast and violent. The human teams fought their way back to their assault ships. The 10 commanders in the center of the protective formation. Council soldiers tried to stop them and died by the dozens. These humans fought like demons, never stopping, never hesitating. As the last assault ship detached from the Eternal Dominion, Admiral Hana opened a communication channel back to the flagship. Velk's face appeared on screen, bruised and terrified. "You've destroyed 12 of our ships," he said, "killed thousands of our people. The Council will never forgive this." "Good," Hana said. "We don't want your forgiveness. We want you to understand something. You took 10 humans and thought we would submit. Instead, we came here, destroyed your fleet, and took our people back. This is just the beginning." "What do you mean?" Velk asked. "We know you have 340 more humans in your prisons," Hana said. "Colonists who violated your petty laws. People who traveled without proper papers. Humans who did nothing wrong except exist in your territory. We're going to get them back too. Every single one." Velk's face went pale. "That would require assaulting 17 prison worlds across 5 sectors. You don't have the forces for that." Hana's smile was cold and sharp. "You really don't understand us at all. We're humanity. We've been fighting each other for 10,000 years. We've had 2 world wars, a dozen colonial conflicts, and countless smaller battles. We know violence in ways you can't imagine. And when we're united, when we're fighting for something that matters, we're unstoppable." She leaned closer to the screen. "Watch what happens next. Watch us tear apart your prison systems. Watch us free our people. Watch us show the galaxy that taking humans has consequences. And when it's done, when every human is safe, remember this moment. Remember that you started this war. We're just finishing it." The channel closed. The human fleet jumped away, leaving 12 destroyed Council warships and one very damaged flagship drifting in space. Back on Earth, General Jiho's strike force returned to a hero's welcome. The 10 commanders stepped off their transport to find Chairman Tejo waiting for them. He embraced each one briefly, relief clear on his face. "Welcome home," he said. "Thank you for coming for us," Admiral Hana replied. "But we're not done. Not even close." "I know," Tejo said. "The Council sent us a message an hour ago. They're mobilizing their full military. 3,000 warships. They're calling for our complete surrender and threatening to destroy Earth if we don't comply." Hana looked at the other commanders. They all wore the same expression, grim determination mixed with anticipation. "Let them come," she said. "We have 340 more people to rescue first. Then we can focus on destroying the Council." Director Seo Jun stepped forward with a tablet. "We've identified all 17 prison facilities. They're spread across Council space, heavily guarded. We can't hit them all at once. Then we prioritize," General Suji said. "Which ones have the most humans?" "Kethara 7, Sojun replied. "It's their maximum security facility. They have 120 humans there, plus about 2,000 prisoners from other species." Admiral Minho studied the tactical data. "That's deep in Council territory. We'll need to fight our way in and out." "So we fight," Commander Yuna said simply. "We didn't start this war to do things halfway. The Council wanted to see what humanity is capable of. Let's show them." Chairman Tejo looked at his commanders, these people who had been prisoners just hours ago and were now ready to fight again. This was humanity at its finest. Stubborn, fierce, and absolutely unwilling to leave anyone behind. "Operation Broken Chain continues," he said. "Admiral Hana, you'll command the fleet. General Jiho, ground operations. Coordinate with Seo Jun's intelligence. I want rescue operations launched within 72 hours. And I want the Council to know that every human they hold is one more reason we'll never stop. We're not the species they thought we were. We're so much worse." Across the galaxy, the Council scrambled to respond. They had underestimated humanity completely. Now they were paying the price, and the bill was just beginning to come due. The war exploded across 5 sectors of space. The Galactic Council, humiliated by the rescue of the 10 commanders, mobilized 3,000 warships and declared humanity a threat to galactic peace. They demanded Earth's unconditional surrender and the trial of all human military leaders as war criminals. Humanity's response was simple and direct. They said no. Admiral Hana stood on the bridge of the battleship Defiant, watching enemy ships gather on the tactical display. Around her, hundreds of human vessels prepared for battle. The Council had numbers, but humanity had something more important. They had rage. "All ships," she said calmly. "The Council thinks they can intimidate us with their fleet size. They're about to learn that quantity doesn't beat quality. Execute Scorched Space Protocol." Scorched Space was Admiral Minho's idea, brutal but effective. Any Council system that resisted human forces would have its stations and military facilities destroyed. Civilian populations would be warned and evacuated, but everything else would burn. It was total war, and humanity would not apologize for it. The first major engagement happened in the Andros Expanse, a strategic system that controlled 3 major jump routes. The Council sent 1,200 warships to hold it. Humanity sent 400. General Suji commanded the ground forces aboard the assault carriers, waiting for the fleet to do its job. She watched the battle unfold on screens, seeing Admiral Hana's tactical genius in action. The human ships didn't fight fair. They used the asteroid field for cover, appearing and disappearing like ghosts. They coordinated their attacks with precision, focusing fire on one enemy ship until it exploded, then moving to the next. They used sacrifice tactics, smaller ships drawing enemy fire, while battleships lined up devastating shots. "They're expecting us to fight like them," Admiral Minho explained over the command channel. "Big ships firing at each other until someone's shields fail. But we're not doing that. We're doing what humans do best. We're hunting. 3 hours into the battle, the Council had lost 800 ships. Humanity had lost 90. The math was impossible to ignore. Human ships were better armed, better armored, and better commanded. Every captain had been trained in actual combat, not simulations. They knew how to fight because they had been fighting each other for generations. The Council fleet retreated. Admiral Hana let them go, but not before her ships destroyed every Council station in the system. The message was clear: resist and lose everything. While the fleet battles raged, Commander Yuna led Special Forces operations across Council space. Her target was Cathara 7, the maximum security prison that held 120 human colonists. Yuna's team approached the prison world in stealth ships, dropping pods from orbit before the Council even knew they were there. 50 elite soldiers hit the surface and immediately moved on the facility. The prison was massive, designed to hold 10,000 inmates from dozens of species. Council guards thought it was impregnable. They were wrong. Human soldiers breached the outer walls with shaped charges, poured through the defenses like water, and reached the prisoner blocks in under 30 minutes. "Attention all prisoners," Yuna broadcast over the facility's speakers. "This is Commander Yuna of the United Earth Special Forces. We are here to liberate this facility. All Council guards, surrender immediately or be eliminated." Most guards dropped their weapons. A few tried to fight and died quickly. The humans freed every prisoner in the facility, not just their own people. 120 humans, 800 Velnari, 600 Thexians, and 400 members of other species all walked out of that prison. Director Seojun made sure every moment was recorded. The footage of grateful aliens thanking human soldiers played across every news network in the galaxy. Public opinion began to shift. The Council had always presented themselves as peacekeepers and protectors. Now they looked like tyrants, and humanity looked like liberators. The Council's member species began to fracture. The Velnari, who had been under Council rule for 2,000 years, saw their people freed from Cathara 7 and asked themselves why they were fighting for the Council at all. Their government secretly contacted Earth, offering to share jump gate codes in exchange for protection after the war. Chairman Tejo accepted immediately. The codes gave humanity access to Council supply lines, cutting off reinforcements to their frontline fleets. The Thexians went further. They simply refused to commit their ships to the war effort. When the Council threatened sanctions, the Thexian government replied that if the Council wanted to fight on two fronts, they could try. The Council backed down. Back in Andros Expanse, General Suji finally got her chance. With the space battle won, her ground forces landed on the system's primary colony world. 3,000 Council troops had fortified the capital city, taking civilians as human shields. Suji looked at the situation and made a decision that would define the war. She contacted the Council commander directly. "This is General Suji of United Earth Forces. You have 60 seconds to release all civilians and surrender. If you refuse, I will level that city, and everyone in it will die." The Council commander laughed. "You're bluffing. Humans care too much about innocent lives. You won't risk killing civilians." "You're right that we care about innocent lives," Suji said coldly. "That's why I'm giving you 60 seconds. After that, their deaths are on you, not me." 50 seconds remaining. The Council commander stopped laughing. He looked at his officers, seeing the fear in their eyes. These humans had already destroyed 1,200 warships and freed 17 prison facilities. They had shown no mercy to anyone who resisted. 40 seconds, Suji said. "Wait," the commander said. "We need time to evacuate civilians. You should have thought of that before you took them hostage." 30 seconds. The Council soldiers broke. They released the civilians and threw down their weapons. Suji's forces moved in and secured the city without firing a shot. The Council commander was arrested and transported to Earth for trial. Admiral Hana watched reports coming in from across the war zone. Humanity was winning, decisively. The Council's fleet had been reduced to less than 2,000 ships. Every Council prison facility had been liberated. Public opinion across the galaxy had turned against the Council, with dozens of species calling for an end to the war and the Council's dissolution. But the cost had been high. Humanity had lost 300 ships and 50,000 soldiers. Every victory came with a price, and that price was paid in human lives. On Earth, memorials were being built even as the war continued. Chairman Tejo visited them whenever he could, looking at the names of the dead and reminding himself why this war had to be won. Admiral Minho found him standing before one such memorial late one night. "We're winning," Minho said quietly. "I know," Tejo replied. "But look at what it cost us. Would you change your decision? If you could go back, would you let the Council keep our people?" Tejo turned to face him. "Never. Every person who died in this war died fighting for something that matters. They died so no human would ever be taken again. They died so the galaxy would know that humanity protects its own, no matter the cost." "The Council sent another peace offer," Minho said. "They're willing to release all prisoners, dissolve their military oversight of human space, and pay reparations." "Not enough," Tejo said. "The Council itself must be dissolved. Every species must have equal representation in whatever government replaces it. And the Council's leaders must stand trial for their crimes. That's my price for peace. They'll never accept that. Then we keep fighting. We've come this far. We're not stopping until the job is done." Across the galaxy, the Council's Supreme Arbiter held an emergency session. The 7-member species gathered, their representatives arguing furiously. The Velnari demanded peace. The Thexians refused to contribute more forces. The other species were divided. High Arbiter Velk, his face still bruised from the human assault on his flagship, stood before them. "We made a mistake," he said quietly. "We thought humanity was like other young species. We thought they would be intimidated by our age and power. We were wrong. These humans are something different. They're warriors who have been fighting themselves for their entire history. When we united them against us, we created the most dangerous enemy this galaxy has ever seen." "So what do we do?" one representative asked. Velk looked at the tactical displays showing the war situation. Humanity controlled 5 sectors. Council forces were retreating on every front. The galactic public supported the humans. "We accept their terms," he said. "All of them. Because if we don't, they'll destroy us completely. And they won't lose any sleep over it." 6 months after the war began, the Galactic Council requested a formal ceasefire. They sent the message on every channel, broadcast to every world, ensuring that the entire galaxy witnessed their surrender. Chairman Tejo read the message in his office, surrounded by his top commanders: Admiral Hana, General Suji, Admiral Minho, General Jiho, and the others who had fought so hard for humanity's freedom. They looked exhausted, but unbroken. "They're offering complete surrender," Tejo said. "They want to negotiate terms aboard a neutral station." "No," Admiral Hana said immediately. "They come to us. They come to our ship, in our space, and they accept our terms." "No negotiation," Tejo smiled slightly. "That's what I told them. The meeting is scheduled for tomorrow, aboard the Unyielding Dawn." The Unyielding Dawn was humanity's newest and largest battleship, built during the war and designed to be intimidating. It was 3 miles long, bristling with weapons, and had shields strong enough to survive a direct hit from a nuclear weapon. It represented everything humanity had become during the war. Strong, advanced, and absolutely unwilling to compromise. The Council delegation arrived the next day. High Arbiter Velk led them, looking decades older than he had 6 months ago. The war had broken him. Behind him came representatives from all 7 council species, each one looking defeated. They were brought to the main conference room where Tejo and the 10 commanders waited. The humans stood in full military dress, every medal and ribbon displayed. They did not offer seats. The council delegation would stand for this. "High Arbiter Velk," Tejo said formally. "You requested this meeting. Speak." Velk looked at the humans, seeing the cold determination in their eyes. "The Galactic Council recognizes that we made errors in our dealings with humanity. We took actions that were unjust. We provoked a conflict that should never have happened. We are prepared to accept responsibility and make amends. That's a very diplomatic way of saying you lost, General Suji said flatly. Velk flinched but nodded. Yes, we lost. Your species proved more capable than we believed possible. You fought with a ferocity and skill that surprised us. You kidnapped our people, Commander Yuna said. You threatened our freedom. You tried to enslave us to your authority. Did you really think we would just accept that? We thought you were like other species, Velk said quietly. Most species, when faced with superior force, submit and adapt. We've used this method for thousands of years. It always worked before. That's because you've been bullying the weak, Admiral Hanna said. You found a species that fights back, and it terrified you. Good. You should be terrified. Chairman Tejo raised his hand for silence. Enough. High Arbiter. You came here to accept terms. These are humanity's demands. First, the Galactic Council is dissolved immediately. Your government, your authority, your entire system ends today. The council representatives looked shocked, but Velk just nodded. He had known this was coming. Second, Tejo continued, all prisoners held in council facilities are released immediately. Not just humans. Every prisoner from every species. Your prison system is abolished. Third, all council leaders, including yourself, will stand trial for war crimes. The trials will be public and fair, but they will happen. You will answer for every unjust imprisonment, every aggressive action, every abuse of power. Fourth, a new galactic assembly will be formed. Every species, regardless of age or size, gets equal representation. One species, one vote. No special privileges for anyone. Fifth and finally, humanity will assume control of 3 strategic sectors as reparations for the cost of this war. These sectors will be administered by Earth, but will remain open to all peaceful species. Velk looked at the terms displayed on the screen. They were harsh but not cruel. Humanity could have demanded total subjugation. Instead, they were building a fairer galaxy. We accept, Velk said. All of it. We have no choice. No, Tejo agreed. You don't. The surrender documents are ready for your signature. The signing took less than an hour. Each council representative added their mark to the document, officially ending the Galactic Council's 10,000-year rule. When it was done, Velk looked at Tejo. May I ask a question? He said. Ask. If we had released your 10 commanders immediately, if we had apologized and backed down, would you have accepted peace? Tejo considered the question. Probably. We didn't want this war. But once you forced it on us, we committed completely. That's what you never understood. Humans don't do anything halfway. When we fight to win. When we protect our own, we'll burn down the galaxy to do it. You gave us a choice between submission and war. You should have known which one we'd choose. The council delegation was escorted off the ship. Within days, the transition began. The council's government structures were dismantled. Their prison facilities were emptied, freeing millions of beings who had been imprisoned for minor offenses or political reasons. The trials began. With council leaders facing justice for their crimes, the Galactic Assembly held its first session 3 months later. 200 species sent representatives, each with equal voice and vote. Humanity's representative was Admiral Hanna, promoted to Grand Admiral, and given authority over the new Galactic Defense Force. Her first act was to establish a single principle for the new government. No species would ever be threatened or coerced based on their age, size, or military strength. Force would only be used defensively, and any species that violated another's sovereignty would face immediate consequences. The galaxy accepted this new order. After watching humanity defeat the Council in 6 months, no one wanted to test whether Earth would enforce these principles. They would. 5 years passed. The galaxy prospered under the Galactic Assembly. Trade increased. Conflicts decreased. Species that had been enemies for centuries found common ground. The Council's oppressive rule was replaced by genuine cooperation. On Earth, the 10 commanders gathered for their annual reunion. They met at a memorial, built to honor the 50,000 humans who died in the war. The memorial was a simple stone wall with every name carved into it, a reminder of the cost of freedom. Admiral Hana stood before the wall, reading names she recognized. Friends, subordinates, people she had commanded who never came home. The others joined her, standing in silence. "Do you think it was worth it?" General Unbi asked quietly. "Yes," Hana said without hesitation. Every one of these people died fighting for something that mattered. They died so humanity would never bow to tyrants again. They died so the galaxy would be free. I think they'd say it was worth it. "The council's gone," Colonel Hagen said. "We rebuilt the government. We freed billions of prisoners. We created a fairer galaxy. But I still think about those 6 days we spent as prisoners. I think about how angry I was." "Good," Commander Yuna said. "Stay angry. Remember what the council tried to do to us. Make sure it never happens again." Chairman Tejo, now retired but still influential, joined them at the memorial. He looked older, the stress of leadership evident in his face. But he walked tall, proud of what humanity had accomplished. "I visit this memorial every month," he said. "I need to remember them. I need to remember why we fought." "We all do," Admiral Minho said. "This memorial isn't just for the dead. It's for the living. It reminds us what we're capable of when we're pushed. It reminds us why we must never allow another species to threaten humanity again." General Jiho nodded. "The galaxy respects us now. They respect us because we showed them what happens when you threaten humans. We didn't just win a war. We changed the entire galactic order." Tejo looked at the 10 commanders. "The council made one mistake. Just one. But it was a fatal mistake." "What mistake was that?" General Suji asked. "They took 10 humans," Tejo said. "If they had taken one, we would have gone to war. If they had taken 100, we would have gone to war. The number didn't matter. What mattered was the principle. No human gets left behind. No human submits to tyranny. No human accepts injustice. They thought they could use fear to control us. Instead, they united us." Admiral Hana placed her hand on the memorial wall. "To everyone who died in the war," she said formally, "we remember you. We honor you. We promise that your sacrifice mattered. The galaxy is free because you fought. Humanity stands tall because you stood first. We will never forget." The others repeated her words. Then they stood together in silence, looking at the names of the fallen. Across the galaxy, other species watched humanity with a mixture of respect and caution. Earth had proven itself as a military power without equal, but more importantly, they had proven themselves as a species of principle. They fought for their own, but they also fought for justice. They defeated the council but built something better in its place. No species would threaten humanity again. And any species that threatened the innocent would face human justice. The galaxy had a new guardian, and that guardian wore the flag of Earth. The war had been brutal. The cost had been high. But humanity emerged stronger, more respected, and more unified than ever before. The Galactic Council learned too late what every human already knew. You can threaten humanity, you can challenge humanity, you can even fight humanity. But you cannot take humans and expect no consequences. Because humanity will come for their own. They will fight with everything they have. They will burn down empires and reshape galaxies. And they will win. The 10 commanders left the memorial that day knowing they had done something extraordinary. They had been taken as hostages meant to force humanity into submission. Instead, they became symbols of everything that made humanity great: courage, determination, the absolute refusal to abandon their own. The galaxy would remember the war for centuries. They would tell stories about the day humanity went to war over 10 commanders. They would speak of Admiral Hana and her sisters with respect and awe. But the most important lesson, the one that every species learned, was simple and clear. Never threaten humanity. Never take their people. Never assume that because you're older or larger or more numerous, you're safer. Because humanity doesn't negotiate with tyrants. They don't compromise with kidnappers. They don't accept injustice or oppression. They fight. They win. And they never, ever forget.